Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we are doing something a little bit different and frankly, incredibly powerful. Let's just jump right in. Today, we're embarking on a micro-deconstruction of how we build mental resilience. We're going to take a very brief, highly concentrated piece of source text and treat it like a literal architectural blueprint. Think about it. When you look at a blueprint, every single line, every symbol, every dimension, it all means something absolutely crucial to the structural integrity of that building, right? Well, that's exactly how we're approaching our source material today. We're going to examine the exact mechanics of how a resilient mind is constructed, layer by layer, brick by brick. And by the end of this, you're going to have a clear, actionable schematic for your very own mindset.
Section 1. The Architect of Optimism.
Okay, let's dive into this. As we lay out our plans, keep in mind that today's explainer relies on a concept that is so dense, so perfectly distilled, that we really need to build our understanding of it from the absolute foundation up. Here is our master blueprint for this entire explainer. Practice positive thinking. Write down or speak optimistic language to train yourself to react positively to setbacks. That's it. It's literally just 2 sentences. But do not let that brevity fool you. This isn't just some nice motivational quote you'd stick on your refrigerator. Now, this is a rigorous, sequential instruction manual. It's got an origin point, a physical mechanism, and a final, heavily reinforced structural goal. We're going to spend our time today unpacking the immense weight carried by the specific words chosen in this text, starting right at the beginning.
Section 2. Practicing Positive Thinking.
All right, here's where we pour the concrete. We're shifting our focus to the very first command of our text, which really serves as the foundational pillar for everything that follows. Notice the deliberate use of the word practice. The source doesn't say have positive thoughts or just be a positive person. It demands that you practice positive thinking. And honestly, this completely reframes optimism. So often, culturally, we view optimism as just a personality trait, right? Like it's a genetic lottery ticket. You're either born a sunny, glass-half-full kind of person, or you're just not. But this text, it fundamentally rejects that idea. By defining optimism as a practice, it frames it as an ongoing, deliberate action. It is not a feeling you just happen to stumble upon while you're walking down the street. It's an active construction site. It requires daily effort, tools, sweat. It's an acquired skill.
Let's see how this actually builds into a complete psychological journey. The text maps out this brilliant progression. We start at step 1, an internal, totally abstract decision to practice thinking. But, thoughts alone are invisible. They could be pretty fragile. So the blueprint immediately moves us to step 2, write or speak. This is that crucial transition from your internal world out into the physical world. And finally, that physical action leads us right to step 3, training our reactions. We move from a conscious effort straight into an involuntary reflex. It's literally a masterclass in behavioral conditioning, taking us from a quiet intention in our minds all the way to a tangible automatic defense mechanism.
Section 3. Words, written, and spoken.
We're transitioning now into the middle phase of our blueprint to examine the highly specific physical tools the source gives us for this mental construction project. And this brilliantly illustrates the 2 distinct physical pathways we're offered to channel our optimism. One pathway is writing. Now, writing is a tactile, muscular activity. You have to slow your brain down, form the letters, lock your eyes onto the ink. The other pathway is speaking. This is an auditory, vibrational activity. You're using your breath, your vocal cords, your hearing to process that optimism. Both are explicitly offered by the text, which means you have a choice in how you construct your resilience. But the vital takeaway here? Both require your physical body to get involved.
So the crucial point we need to understand is why. Why does the text insist on these physical actions? Why can't we just, think happy thoughts and leave it at that? Well, writing or speaking transforms internal thoughts into an external reality. When a thought stays locked in your head, it's really just a whisper. It can easily be blown away by a gust of stress or anxiety. But when you write it down or speak it out loud, you are utilizing physical action as mental reinforcement. You're creating a physical record of your optimism in the real world. This process actually takes that optimistic language and embeds it deeply into your mindset. It's exactly like driving steel rebar into concrete. You do it to make absolutely sure it doesn't crack under pressure.
Section 4. Reacting to Setbacks.
We're moving now to the final structural pillar of our explainer. We've poured the foundation, we've erected the scaffolding with our written and spoken words, and now we really have to look at the ultimate result of this rigorous training protocol. I want to pose a direct question to you right now. Why do we train? Why do we put in all this grueling effort?
Why go through the daily grind of writing down optimistic phrases or standing in an empty room speaking them out loud? What is the actual purpose of this mental architecture we're building? Because every building is designed to withstand a specific environment. So what is the weather that our architect is preparing us for?
Here is the powerful punchline of our source material. We do all of this to react positively to setbacks. Notice what the text does not say here. It doesn't say we do this to avoid setbacks. It does not promise you a life totally free of failure or disappointment. The architect of this blueprint acknowledges a fundamental truth. The storms are gonna come. Setbacks are absolutely guaranteed. The goal of this entire methodology isn't to magically ward off failure. No, it is to strictly engineer our response to it. We build this structure so that when the ground shakes, our building might sway, but it does not break.
I want to bring us back to this specific clause one last time, focusing heavily on the word train, to train yourself to react positively to setbacks. A reaction, by definition, is usually a reflex, right? It happens way faster than conscious thought. When you touch a hot stove, you react by pulling your hand away. You don't sit there and think about it. What our text proposes is that through the physical practice of writing and speaking optimism, we can actually pre-program our reflexes. Resilient reflexes are built, they are not born. By putting in the repetitions while the weather is calm, we're building up that muscle memory. So when a sudden setback actually hits you, you don't have to scramble around trying to find a positive perspective. Your training simply kicks in on autopilot.
And that brings us to the end of our blueprint. We've deconstructed the architect's plans, from the deliberate practice of positive thought, through the physical mechanisms of the written and spoken word, all the way to the ultimate goal of engineered resilience in the face of inevitable setbacks. Now the construction is entirely in your hands. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought today. Which tool will you use today to build your foundation of optimism? Is it going to be the pen or your voice? The blueprint is clear, the choice is yours, and it's time to get to work. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep building, and I'll see you next time.